Welcome to another edition of Chocobo Chasers. I am G, and as always, I am joined by the Chocobros, Eric and Dash. How are you guys doing today?
Got a lot to talk about.
We do. Some topics I think that'll have just a lot of expansive, uh, just juicy stuff. First, let's go ahead and let's get the big thing out before because we normally start the episodes off with what are you playing, but I feel like it's a good place to start. We have been doing this for a year. Our first episode was May 3rd of 2023. So we're 3 days past that point, but obviously that's just, with the way that the years fall, that's
y'all can skip that one, man. That episode fucking sucked.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
And then one episode later, we decided to do this permanently together, and it's been some of the most fun that I've ever had. So I have absolutely loved doing this. I started this project out originally, and I would say I kind of started it without a lot of direction. I just knew I wanted to talk about games, and finding two people like Dash and Eric who are also incredibly passionate about games, but also provide a unique perspective because we all like different things, but we also like a lot of the same things too. And I think that makes us a really cohesive group together. So I wanted to start this episode off today by talking about some of our favorite memories just over the last year. Obviously, we've had the opportunity to talk to some incredibly talented people. I'll open it up. What are some of your guys' favorite memories from year one?
I'd have to say every single interview. I mean, those are just priceless experiences. And, I don't think I'd ever would have gotten an opportunity to do anything like that if it weren't for this podcast.
Go ahead, Eric.
I mean, thanks to the first guest, man, Doug, because, literally we're still nobodies, but like at that point we had done 3-4 episodes together, maybe, and he took the time come on to talk to us, man, and Sam told us directly, like, she listened to our interview with Doug, she liked our questions, and that's part of why she came on. So like we don't get the rest of the Baldur's Gate 3 cast without her, and then by extension Doug, because she enjoyed that episode. Rhiannon, man, she came on when we were, we just some random dude. I DM'd her on Twitter. I'm like, man, it's probably a really random DM as to come on a podcast. But it's been pretty incredible, man. Like I didn't envision this at all when we first started doing this.
No, and I think that the vision for what we have for the podcast has definitely expanded a little bit to maybe what the future could bring. This is still just us having a lot of fun. And when it stops being fun, we'll stop doing it. But I think we're still having a lot of fun. That's not in the plans anytime soon. Definitely. And one thing I wanted to call out, I think, which was something that we've talked about a lot on this show, is that some of our best memories from our interviewees are stuff that we didn't even get to interview. Talking about, before recordings, after recordings, Earl T. Kim, talking My Chemical Romance.
Yes.
Just some really cool stuff that, people didn't get to hear, but we got to experience it. And so, Earl, Keith Farley was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Dice K.
Michael Goff, our intro.
Yeah. And Michael Goff was Eric could not stop laughing during a specific part of Michael Goff's interview, and I remember him texting me saying, "I can't breathe," because he was laughing so hard.
Oh man, I'm so glad we didn't have fucking video at that time, because I was dying. I don't even remember what it was, but I probably have to go back and play it.
It was when he did his Bermuda Triangle voice.
Oh yeah,
like
non-stop laughing. And honestly, just one. That's a great example of just some of the most varied talent I'd say that we've also had. Joe White was amazing. Him getting to hear some of our impressions. He was just one of the most gracious and kind people that we've ever had the chance to interview. I definitely throw Doug in that category as well. Peter Jessup was great to interview. We've had the opportunity to talk to so many cool people, and if we haven't mentioned you, it's not that we don't care. It's just there's been a lot, and
we're too important now. We don't remember you.
There's going to be even more. So here's your first little tell. We have our next guest actually appearing on next episode, so we are incredibly excited, and it seems a little on the nose. I think we're touching a subject and a game that is very, very popular right now. We were incredibly excited. What'd you say, Eric?
Was that a big nose joke, bro?
Oh, no.
Hey, there are dozens of us. Dozens of us.
But all in all, just happy to say, love you boys. I'm so happy we're doing this, and I can't wait to do another year of doing this. It's gonna be a hell of a good time.
Appreciate, man. Any excuse to talk about video
games.
Man,
I'll give you a kiss, bro.
Hey. So now we'll go ahead and we'll start the episode off as we normally go ahead and do. We're going to start it off with a what are you playing? Dash, you're going to kick us off this week.
All right. So I did a little bit more Days Gone, just trying to... I mean, I'm like, I already have it installed. I might as well try to finish it a bit. So trying to push myself through it. I'm in the third area now, and...
Are you still not enjoying it very much?
I'm trying to find where this game, like, takes off, I guess.
See, for me, like, the part you're in, hold on, are you at Big Mike in Iron Hills, or are you after?
Yeah. It's not Big Mike, it's,
Iron Mike?
Iron Mike, that's who it is, I think, yeah. Old guy, cowboy hat kind of thing, I guess, yeah.
I don't know if was that his name?
It's the third area, but basically it's that's like the place where...
that's when it got good for me.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's just like the missions are all the same. It's always like sneak here, kill this, do that kind of stuff. Like there's not much mission variety, it felt like.
And then also, what variety is there?
I know, but and then it's like I just now got a third infection type after playing this game for how long? And it's just it's like the bleachers, which are just basically swarmers but gray and I guess a bit more tough, but they can still be popped in the head with one shot, so it's not like they're much different. I did have my run-in with a horde because I was trying to just clear out nests and then aggro the entire... I'm not equipped for them yet. It's and they overran me before I could get to my motorcycle, because like the animation to get on your motorcycle takes too long and that horde's right on your ass that whole time. But, I mean...
you off, so.
It's not a bad game. I'm not trying to put it down. It's just... You know, it's your run-of-the-mill open-world game for me so far.
It's not anything, like, insanely amazing, but I think it's a good time.
I'm not a fan of, like, the economy system in there, too, because it seems like there's not many ways to actually make money besides doing those few missions that they do throw at you, and then you either have to go out of your way to kill a whole bunch of zombies, or grab plants, kill animals to get their meat or something.
Yeah.
But I will push myself through this game. It's not like I'm hating it. It's just kind of like those moments where I'm just kind of like, I die to a horde and I'll just like quit. Like I'm not gonna try again. I'll try again tomorrow or something. And speaking of like games that I can always come back to, no matter how much time has passed, and I can replay this game all the time, I decided to start Kingdom Hearts. Just doing like a little Kingdom Hearts playthrough. Maybe I'll do the whole 100% run. I don't know. I had Kingdom Hearts on my main menu for my PlayStation 5. I don't think I've really played it on my PlayStation 5 since I've had one. So I'm not sure if it looks any better than it did on PS4. Or
it's still the PS4 native version. So
it kind of looked better for me, but maybe that's just time. And...
Yeah, it might, and it also might just be running on the SSD. Like you get obviously the faster menus and everything like that. So maybe
it's kind of fun just to do like the grinding in Destiny Isle and just be like level 8 and just kicking everybody's ass.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I sometimes do just because I like to have some abilities unlocked a bit early.
Yeah. Okay.
But just got to Traverse Town and I stopped playing. It was like probably 2 hours of playing and I didn't get much further than that. Did more Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires. Questioning if I will try to get all those little ending scenes like I initially wanted to kind of complete it. But like the recruitment system in this game is horrible because it's like I need one specific character. I already have like 4 of the 5, but there's no way to just say, I want to recruit this character. You have to wait for one of your advisors to give you a recruit option. You have to hope that the recruit options for that specific character you're looking for, or it might be like one like search your regions for a number of officers, and it'll give you a whole list. And half the time, it'll never have the person you're looking for, and you only have 100 turns to try and find this character before the game ends. So I went a whole 100 turns without finding that one character. So it's so tedious. It's like, it's not even hard. It's just, you can't get this one character. I know it was a lot easier in Dynasty Wars. Oh wait, it was Dynasty Wars 4 Empires. I said Dynasty Wars 5 at the beginning, I think. Dynasty Wars 5 is a lot easier to get your characters, because, I mean, I think they even keep all the progression when you level up. But anyways, we got Hades 1 or 2. I've been playing. So Hades 2 just came out today, if you didn't know. And that was a bit of a surprise. It's an early access, but it already feels like a full-fledged game from the little I played of it today. And that made me want to go back and start playing Hades 1, because I've never actually beaten it yet, and I feel like I should before I get into Hades 2 a bit more.
Hell yeah.
But everything I've done in Hades 2, just, it feels so much smoother than what Hades 1 was. And they've got like whole new gameplay mechanics. They got like harvesting resources, and you can have like pets and stuff. So new abilities. Obviously, you're playing a new character, so the weapon system's completely different. You don't have like your like the one magic thing that you get to throw. You actually have like a mana bar now, which if you charge up your attacks, they'll do specific things. So those are like your really powerful moves, but you only have so much mana that you can use, and kind of like your health, you can upgrade it as you go, or fill it up. There's like little things that can fill up your mana when you find them. But also they use like, instead of like choosing like stats and stuff, you have like arcana cards. So you get like 10 points that you can choose, and each card might have like a value assigned to it. So up to 10 points worth of cards you can add, which will do the stuff like, anytime you go to a new level, you'll get 3 health back or something like that. Just a lot of like cool new things that they did to make it fresh. And with it being early access, though, it's still not the final product, and they've been saying that they're going to be doing the whole roadmap to add major updates to it. But some people are saying that it already has more content than the first game, so that's exciting already. I just need to beat the first one and do one full playthrough. I've only beaten that Minotaur, and I think his name's Theseus or whatever. I've only beaten them once, ever.
You and Eric both still need to beat it, so...
Yep. So I played it I played Hades 1 for a couple more hours and got some good runs in, but that's just going to be a grind I'm going to have to work on until I get to that point. A new game that I started playing, and just because I finally got a group to actually play it with, or they finally had room, because they're usually it's a 4-player co-op game. You know how that goes. So if you're the odd one out, you don't get to play. But Phasmophobia, I haven't played that game in a good number of years. I know it's like probably had a whole bunch of changes to it since I originally played it. And my first experience playing the game wasn't that good either, because for my very first experience back then, I had a friend, he's like, oh, let's do the Insane Asylum as your first mission kind of shit. It's a big giant map, and you have to find that one room the ghost is in. So you spend like half an hour just walking around trying to find the room in the first place. But, here now I'm just playing like little houses, and that's just much more quick. Getting killed by like demons and stuff, because they go in the hunt like almost instantly. I just walk into a room and just die because I like heard crying. I open the door and then it's just right there. Definitely not a game I would play by myself, though. It's like I get scared playing the tutorial for this game by myself. It's bad. But it has such good ambiance, and I like that it's still a game that's been getting supported over all this number of years.
Yeah, came out in 2020, I believe.
Yeah, I think when did it was like early access back then, and it finally had like its official full launch. And I think it just had a big content update maybe last year.
It was actually best debut game at the Game Awards back in 2020 as well. So
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good game, and I think they have the VR support too, which makes it even scarier.
I would not play that game in VR, so I don't care what anybody says. I'll never do it.
Yep. And I don't think there's any other games I really messed around with over that time. So
Eric is getting the Cyberpunk screen right now. I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and get us on my what are you playing. So this week I have been rocking Near Replicant. I mentioned playing it last week, and I have continued playing it, and I have finally gotten to a point. There's a large time jump that happens in the middle of the game. As someone who really, really loved Near Automata, Replicant, it really feels kind of just like an extension of that. It is a prequel to Automata. It takes place quite a bit before then, and it's really something that I would absolutely recommend.
That's the remake of the original Nier, right?
It's a remake of Nier, which was a PS3 game for those who haven't played it. And Nier is actually set in the Drakengard universe as well, and it's a really fun series of games. Drakengard was one of my original bays in terms of gaming, because man, those games are awesome. There wasn't a whole huge bit of story, but just being able to fight on Dragonback is something we really haven't seen too much from any other like modern games. Something that would be very cool.
Didn't they have like the line of like Divinity games where you actually did like dragon stuff? I think it was like Divinity Dragon Commander. Actually, Eric might know. He's back now.
I have no idea what's going on with my camera, but it will not pick up any feed. Maybe it's just going out on me.
Hey, that's okay. So, Eric,
Yo,
Dash, will you repeat that?
Yeah, have you ever heard, like, the Divinity games had, like, a dragon flying strategy game, too, didn't they? Like, Dragon Commander, I think it was.
So I only played Original Sin 2.
Okay.
And I cannot lie to you, I really didn't like it that much.
Really?
Oh, the Original Sin?
Yeah, it was okay.
I thought you liked you only liked the second one.
So I like the second one, but my issue with it is like I went to Original Sin 2 after playing Baldur's Gate 3 beta, and just like the way Baldur's Gate 3 felt, I just didn't vibe as well with Divinity. I don't know what it was.
I totally understand. It's hard to play like someone's magnum opus and then go back, because I feel like you kind of compare everything to that at that point. But no, so I've been playing a bunch of Nier Replicant. Played a little bit of Madden this week. I actually also have been considering starting up Kingdom Hearts, which is funny that you say that, Dash. It's kind of my comfort.
It's a timeless game. Like, it's always a game I can go back and play over and over again.
It's funny that you say that, though, because I have been thinking about this, and I have a lot of friends who I've made in the gaming, sphere. And I don't know that I could introduce a person who's never played Kingdom Hearts to Kingdom Hearts and have them like it as much as we did. Part of that, I think, is because we played it at a time when we originally did. So there's this attachment from when you were younger. And it is kind of a cartoony, kidsy game, especially at the beginning of 1.
You gotta really just get past the Disney, and also just kind of like, Kingdom Hearts is notorious for its dialogue.
It's campy, and it can be a little off-putting at times. And so, it's one of those things where I think that it's probably a little hard to introduce to someone like as a new fan, and that's okay. But
honestly, it shines with the gameplay, though. It has probably some of the best ARPG mechanics out there.
Each game gets better. Say what you will about Kingdom Hearts 3. From a gameplay perspective, it looks the best by far, and it plays the best. Kingdom Hearts 2 is easily my favorite. And Birth by Sleep has actually crept up there on my rankings for sure. But yeah, so I'd say Nier, Madden. I have played something else too, but it must not be important because I can't remember it. So, Eric, what about you, man? What have you been playing this week?
So I started my week out Actually, kind of going off of last week, we were talking all that shit on Tarkov that I decided to play single player Tarkov. Download the mod and test it out and see just how much I liked it. And so what and honestly, it was so much more fun than actual Tarkov.
Really?
Like the bots are challenging. There's mods you can download that actually make these like the bots quest. The PMC bots will quest like you do, so you'll meet over quest items. They can have different spawn points. They move around the map differently compared to how they like a person would in game. They'll extract camp. They'll hide in bushes, and it's just it's challenging. It's not like you don't feel like you're getting cheated out of stuff when you get killed by some random dude who sees you and the account's brand new. It's just it's the most fun I've had playing Tarkov in a long time, and me and a lot of the boys who are in the Discord all agree we've all had a good time playing it so far. I was up till like 3 a.m. on Saturday morning playing it, and I haven't had one of those nights since Baldur's Gate came out.
Wow,
and
that's impressive.
Also, just got a little competitive fix in. Played some Counter-Strike 2. Played some Valorant. Ran the table with the boys. Good time. My week's been pretty simple, man. I don't have a lot of time recently during the week. I don't play much, so like Fridays and Saturdays are like my only time to play.
Yeah, I think as we kind of head more into the summer, obviously we're going to start seeing some of these summer sales coming on. Probably going to get some more titles adding into this segment, but I think right now it's kind of a slow, just a relaxed period. And I think it's good to have those because if you're going just all in, balls to the wall all the time, it's pretty easy to get burnt out. It's funny to think like, oh, are you going to get burnt out gaming? Like you do anything enough, it's going to happen. Yep. So, and
actually, speaking of sales, we got Nier Automata and Replicant on sale on Steam right now.
Pick them up.
And both the Divinity games.
There we go. I have never played a Divinity game, but after playing Baldur's Gate 3, I definitely want to try them at least. Probably Original Sin 2, because I think 1 might be...
fuck with this camera and this fucking thing.
Well, speaking of games I actually need to beat
I'm about to break this fucking thing.
Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor are on sale too.
Eric is raging.
Oh man, I'm getting mad. All right.
All right. So, for Dash obviously talked about it. Hades 2 is out today. Surprise release. Early access launch. But, Dash, you talked about it. There is, like... It doesn't necessarily feel so much like an early access title. It feels, it's launching with a lot of features early on.
I think I've only had one moment where my frame rate just got choppy. I'm not sure if that's the problem with PC gaming. I don't know if it's my problem or the game's problem, though. Yeah. That's the thing.
It's tough to tell. And one thing, so we've obviously made an effort in calling out, our previous guests when they're out in games. Well, guess what? Amelia Tyler, a.k.a. the narrator of Baldur's Gate 3, is Hecate in Hades 2. So
for some reason I thought Hecate was going to be the playable character, but no, it's Melanie, or
I'm not going to try to pronounce it. But...
It has like the weird like way of pronouncing it at the end. It's like Melanie, or something like that, I guess.
I know what I'm going to clip for this episode.
I am terrible with pronunciations anyways, so that just makes it even worse.
So spell it and we'll all try to pronounce it. We'll all take a gander at it.
Let's see. It's Melinoe, so... But the E has the 2 dots over the end, too, so...
Melinoe, I think? Would it be?
Melinoe? Something?
Melinois.
Melinois.
I'm gonna look this up after the episode and see how off we all were.
I should have paid attention to when the dialogue was happening because I know I'm like, oh, that's how you pronounce it, kind of thing.
Melinois.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, that's Zagreus's sister, I believe, right?
Yes, it is. And so awesome to see. Obviously, the game launched from reviews that I've seen so far. incredibly strong ratings, especially for an early access title. Like, this is exactly what you like to see, especially from something coming early access, because I think some studios see early access and they think, hey, we can release a game that's in a kind of shitty state, but people will accept this because it's early access, and obviously there's going to be improvements to make the game better, but releasing a game that's awesome to begin with, it's a great start. So
no
congrats.
Dusa and Hades 2 though, unfortunately. But we got another adorable companion kind of person, which is like spirit named Dora.
Okay.
So she's kind of adorable. I like her.
Hell yeah. So congrats to Amelia Tyler. Congrats to the team responsible for Hades 2 Supergiant Games. We are at Dash is obviously already playing, but I'm sure Eric and I will be picking it up at some point as well.
I might just be on a constant Hades grind now.
So this brings us to the main crux of our episode here today. And we're talking a game which has been in the news for honestly largely the last, 3-4 months for a multitude of reasons, most recently negative, but that has kind of shifted. So we're talking Helldivers 2. We're talking spreading managed democracy. So there's obviously been a bit of controversy, and that controversy is that Sony has been requiring Helldivers 2 players, if you're on PC, to register with a PlayStation account. That doesn't necessarily sound so bad. But you have to take into account that there are a lot of different countries who don't have PlayStation access, who have Steam access.
177?
Yes. And one thing that I will say is that Steam was honoring refunds for people even past the 2-hour mark, which I thought was pretty awesome because it's not something we typically see. But what's even more awesome is that there was a lot of community outrage about this, and for good reason. Obviously, Helldivers has been kind of the sleeper hit and honestly a game of the year contender. We've had some incredibly strong games to start the year, but this is absolutely in that race. So now that we've had this uproar, we've had people, making their voice be heard, and you have the CEO of the company who makes Helldivers 2 has been pretty straightforward about, hey, this is Sony's requirement. This is not this is not coming from Arrowhead Games. Well, we've finally seen a shift, and Sony has relented. They have said, you know what? We understand that this was the wrong approach to go ahead and take for this game, and going forward, this will not be a requirement. So
I like how now they're being transparent, because now they're saying Ghost of Tsushima PC multiplayer is going to require the PSN.
Will require, yeah. And so, and if you're going to be straightforward about it, it's fine. I'm not going to take offense with that whatsoever. But they changed kind of the terms of service in this case, and that's obviously why the uproar was what it is right now. So I'll just say this, man, good on the community for speaking up, because everyone I know who plays Helldivers adores it. We have had a blast killing bugs, killing automatons. Some of my favorite memories I've had, like over the last year, have been gaming with my friends, and we're just in, a Helldive, and it's the most chaotic game that I've played in quite some time, but it is so much fun. When Eric used to describe the high he'd get, peak Tarkov, that's kind of what I got playing this game. But
it's intense.
It is.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you strive for when you're playing like big multiplayer games. Some people it's COD, some people it's Tarkov, some people it's Valorant, some people it's Dota, some people it's Helldivers 2. And Helldivers, one thing that we've loved and we've complimented about the game is that they're continuing to add new content like very regularly. You can earn in-game currency in-game as opposed to paying for it. It's a slow accumulation, but it's still there. And then you're also, but you also do get the option to buy it as, a microtransaction. And I think that's a totally fair way to do it. It's kind of a really friendly way to approach microtransactions because and honestly, it's probably a really smart way to do it as well because, there is that slow accumulation. It's like, well, why don't I just pay $5 and get, 500 super credits instead? It's just, I'm proud of the community because it is something that obviously has been bothering a lot of people. And I'm excited that it's not going to limit how many people are going to be able to play this game now. I do wonder how it's going to affect like the people who did ask for refunds. Do they have to rebuy the game? What is going to kind of be the situation? Are they going to be allowed to rebuy the game if you refund it? I'm not sure how Steam works, when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I wouldn't think they would restrict you from rebuying the game after you refund. I mean,
it could depend just on the reason for the refund. Helldivers is probably a little bit of a one-off, in their system as it pertains to, customer service, I suppose. So we'll have to see kind of how that turns out.
It has to be. I'm sure if they didn't allow refunds, there probably would have been some level of legal issues to come from it too.
Because I think you're absolutely right about that.
Especially in Europe, they have a lot of consumer protection laws over there, but I don't think any European countries actually
the Americans.
But 177 countries that were allowed to even purchase this game in the first place, and then Sony's like, "Yeah, we're gonna apply an update to this game, and you're not gonna be able to play it at all. But thanks for the money." It's like
I didn't even know there was 177 countries in the world. So pardon.
I'm not sure.
My ignorance.
I'd have to probably look at the list. Maybe they count certain areas or something.
Probably got like North Korea or some shit on that list. We know. No, you can't buy that shit in North Korea, but thanks.
Yeah.
Didn't have to fucking tell us.
But no,
I think there's 300 countries in the world or something.
368.
You guys can. You guys would know better than me. I thought there was 150. So, obviously, Helldivers 2 has been a huge success. Glad to see that it's going to continue to be a big success because obviously we're big fans of the game. Big fans of the gameplay, big fans of the experiences that we've had playing this game. And we'll have some additional stuff coming up about Helldivers that we're really excited to share here over the next few weeks as well. I think that pretty much covers everything that I had from my side. Any other gaming news or anything you guys wanted to cover today?
They have the big Starfield update that went into beta. It's added in everything people complained about kind of at the beginning, and I think they even showed a little bit. Apparently, it's going to be a dune buggy that they're putting into Starfield for you to traverse planets on.
That's
I heard it has fuel though. Is that true? Or
I couldn't tell you.
That's why I
dug 100% into it, but I just know a lot of people are happy with the maps.
Giving us a way to travel faster would fix a lot of the issues with the game, especially if we can put all the excess materials in said buggy. Because I mean, carry limit has always been a problem in Bethesda games, but Starfield was a whole nother level. Especially because it put a larger emphasis on resource harvesting. So, I mean, I would gather a bunch of berry sticks and some ore and stuff, and I'm already encumbered. It's just because I think the ore was a whole pound each.
And Eric, I remember you talking about it in the Saints Block Party podcast Discord, talking about, could this game potentially have a cyberpunk-esque revival? Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you think it would take for it to kind of reach that level?
I think, you need to get rid of everything that people complained about. I think they need to figure out a way to make travel more seamless, less loading screens. I mean, it does take away your immersion, even though, look, the loading screens to me were kind of cool because it reminds me of that scene in Interstellar where they're trying to lock in onto the thing when it's spinning. Yeah, that just because Interstellar is one of my favorite movies, and that's the vibe I got. The music, I just felt like I was playing Interstellar, kind of. Really, the DLC's got to knock it out of the park.
I would like a lot more, maybe environment and variety, because I mean, you go on enough dead moons and it's always the same. But maybe put more stuff on the moons, maybe.
More stuff on the moons, more variation to the dungeons, essentially. Because a lot of
every one of them is the same.
They're almost the same.
It's
like
always
3 or 4 copy and paste. I mean, look, Oblivion had that problem too. Skyrim changed it a little bit, but a lot of times you were still kind of having the same way that like a lot of these looked the same. And it's just like, how many of the same research stations are there?
Yep. Oh, this fuel depot has the same room layouts. Same chest is always going to be sitting right there every time you go there.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me some sort of surprise when I go in there.
That's pretty much what it is. You know, I think there just needs to be more unique encounters. That's kind of something that felt like there was lacking. Is there weren't a lot of unique encounters and that were kind of zany that you'd get in some of like the Skyrim or Fallout series where you kind of get some goofy shit sometimes.
See, I feel like you only got that with the New Game Plus. Like that was the new unique encounter system. So you had to beat the whole game, and you get a chance on your next playthrough to get something to happen. Whether it's like, oh, you're in the universe where everybody's you or something like that. Like, and I wonder what a full playthrough in a universe like that would be. That sounds interesting, right?
All the companions are just you, but different personalities.
Yes. I think that's one of them, if I remember.
I wonder if that's what Shattered Space is going to be, because that's what the DLC's called. And if it's just like different versions of you in the Unity, and that's all like when you go back to the Constellation, it has something to do with that. But I'm not sure.
Like, it was a good game. I mean, I put like a good 120.
It was solid to good. It wasn't great. And that's the problem, you know. It's just they're held up to a high standard by a lot of the gaming community. Everybody thinks that, you know, this needs to be groundbreaking. They've put out games like that before, and this had a lot of limitations, it felt like. And a lot of people like to blame the engine. I don't think it's so much as the engine.
They haven't opened it up for mods either yet, have they?
No, the creation kit's not even out yet. I just think a lot of the issue, it seems to be like, if you go read about like the size of the teams on Fallout, like even for like Fallout 4 was significantly smaller than Starfield. Maybe it's just a process of way too many people working on this.
Yeah, too many hands in the cookie jar.
And there's just, it needs to be a more condensed team. It seems like they were putting out their better stuff when they had smaller teams.
You know, it kind of reminds me of like a post I always see where it's just like, I actually want smaller games with smaller budgets, like more streamlined focus.
That they were coming out sooner, absolutely.
Because I feel like some of these games are getting a bit too ambitious, and
it also doesn't. We don't have to try and expand past what we've already created. Just give me a great experience.
Yep.
You know, give me something different. But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be. I don't need a 90-hour game every single time that something's coming out. Give me a solid 20 hours, and if it's fun, I'm fine. Like,
I don't need Gear 6 to be open world. I know that's what they're going for, but
man,
just focus on making it a good game. Are they still sticking
with open world? Because I thought 5 was received so poorly with it.
I think there was an interview a few months back where they were talking about Gear 6, and they were talking about how they were going to improve the open world. So they're not abandoning it. It sounds like. Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably see Gear 6, the first look at it here at the Xbox conference here in
1 month.
I think a month from today.
I can't believe that's already coming up again, man.
Yeah.
That's our E3 now.
Yeah, we were here doing this a year ago and getting ready for these conferences, and now we're getting ready again. And you know, we're experimenting with, you know, some of our local conferences as well to see if you know, we might be able to represent ourselves as media with, you know, some of our local conventions and things like that. So, you know, we'll have more news to share on that front here over the next few weeks. But honestly, there's a lot. So, anything else you guys wanted to cover today?
No, I think we're... Helldivers was the big one this week.
Helldivers was the big one, yeah.
Thankfully, we didn't have to come into this completely negative.
Shout out to that community manager who said, just leave us all bad reviews.
Yeah, I mean...
He just said, fuck it. He goes, review bomb us. They'll figure it out.
The problem was, like, people were going on the Arrowhead Discord, and they were harassing the community managers and the developers and stuff like that. Like, I get there's a reason to be upset, but like Arrowhead's on their side. They were trying to find the answers from Sony.
Arrowhead is not a Sony company. Like, they're not a PlayStation-owned studio. There have been some rumors that they were going to be at some point, and they still may. This is not to say that that's not going to happen, but they are independent. So,
yeah. I just hope that everybody who's left a negative review can go back and change it to positive, because at least, let's not hurt Arrowhead anymore now that we've made our voices heard. And
yeah. But it just goes to show that, like, community outrage, it can mean something.
Bullying works. Yes.
Hashtag bullying works. That's a perfect way to go ahead and end the episode here. Well, as always, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe wherever you go ahead and get your podcasts. We will catch you next time. Again, stay tuned. Big interview next week. You'll want to see this one. See you guys.
Have a good one.